everybody, and thank you for coming. I'm Deanne, and thank you for coming to our paranormal talk. We like to do this every Friday, and today we have Mel Dorr, and he loves paranormal too, and Tanya, and then all of you guys, thank you for coming. We are going to talk about a few things about intuition and how intuition has helped save people's lives and the things that intuition has done and does do for us. And what I have for you guys, hi, Kevin. I have a few little videos I'm going to put on there real quick, and then we're going to talk and discuss it. So now I'm not used to sharing videos, you guys, so bear with me. So let's see here. I need to learn to do it. So we're going to see how it goes here. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen. And let's see here. Which one do I want to do first? I think I'll do this one first.
Entirely True Stories, Part 1. This is why you should trust your instincts. In the 1970s, an American student needed a ride to college to avoid being late for class. A stranger offered him a lift, and as the student boarded the car and thanked the driver, an unsettling feeling suddenly washed over him just as the vehicle began to move. Unable to pinpoint the cause of his discomfort, he chose to trust his gut feeling. Consequently, he waited for the car to slow down at the next traffic light. Without uttering a word, he jumped out of the window and ran. 2 years later, while watching a televised interview with a convicted criminal on death row, the student saw the interviewer asking the inmate why he removed all the locks on the window in his car. The prisoner responded, recounting the first time he had planned to harm the student, but en route to his sinister destination, the student had jumped out of the window and escaped. So, the convict removed the locks to ensure that no one else could flee in a similar manner. When the program revealed the face of the prisoner, the student realized that he had narrowly escaped becoming the first victim of the infamous
Gacy.
Yes.
Also known as the killer clown, who had taken the lives of over 30 men beneath his underground lair.
So that was one incident of people being saved by their intuition. And let's see, I got, yes.
Years ago, I had a client. This is many years ago, because I started doing my readings when I was 18. I went to college. I got my master's in psych, trying to figure out ESP. But my cousin Marion lived here in Chicago, and I was in school in Kentucky because that's where I'm from. And I would come here and do readings, and that's how I'd I'd help work my way through school doing my readings.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in the, I think, 70s when the whole thing about Gacy came out. And one of my clients back then, her brother, I think it was Peace or something, I can't remember the name, her brother, and it came up in a reading. I said, his spirit is here and it's very uneasy. Her brother, he went missing and they couldn't figure out what happened to him. And when they went to Gacy's crawl space, her brother was one that had been abducted and killed by Gacy.
Oh, wow.
So
imagine how
that was my client's brother that was killed by Gacy. So when you showed that video, my blood ran cold, because I said, your brother's spirit, is he in spirit? He's here and he's uneasy, but he is with the light. And that's when she told me the story.
Wow. Wow. You imagine how that guy must have felt, realizing that he escaped and who he escaped from.
Right.
And he used to dress like a clown. Well, who was the other guy who used to pick up women, and he was very good looking, and he would pick up women and he would kill them.
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. And he tried to defend himself. He was a good looking man, and people would look at him and think, and I wonder how many of those women's intuition told them don't get in the car, but they did it anyway.
Well, I'm sure that a lot of them probably didn't go near him because of their intuition.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, I got a couple more for you guys real quick. See what we got here else on here. Let's see here. See if this is the one.
Unbelievable yet entirely true stories, part
Right. This may be the one I just showed. Hold on. Oh, okay. I got to do it this way. Stop this. Okay. Let's see. Share screen. I'm getting the hang of this eventually. I'll have the hang of this. Okay. Here we go. Here's one.
What is a time that you listened to your intuition and it saved your life?
This is a story how my sister almost died, and my parents' intuition probably saved her. Actually, no, it did save her life. 5 years ago, almost day, there were really bad storms, and my sister was supposed to go to a Christmas party in the next town over with some of her friends. My parents said, we don't want to go, so she decided not to go. It was about a 10-minute drive from our house to this friend's house, and if she would have left at that time, she would have been in the middle of or tornado that actually swept across the bridge that she would have been driving on at that exact moment. We still talk about it to this day because it's one of the craziest things that like our parents were like, actually, let's not do that.
Okay. And the next one we've got here is, let's see here.
Everybody's saying, hi, Sherry, voices from the swamp.
Not quite right.
I'm sorry, it was hard to hear that last one. It was very hard for people to hear. So.
Oh, okay. I'll turn it up. Okay, let's do this one. Tell me if you can hear
If something
this.
feels off, it's off. If something feels like it's not quite right, then it's not quite right. If you're getting kind of weird vibes that you shouldn't trust somebody, don't trust them. See, your intuition never lies. The issue isn't your intuition. The issue is you have not found the courage to listen to it. You're questioning it. That will change the moment you start to act based on your intuition. So if you walk into a room and it just doesn't feel like the right place for you to be, leave. If you meet somebody and you don't feel like yourself, that's probably not a good person for you to be around. If the vibes are off, believe the vibes. Your intuition isn't lying. And the more you start acting based on it, the stronger and louder and better it's going to get.
Okay, and I'll play that one that you didn't hear. Let's see here. Okay. We got this one. See, there's another one. Let's see what this one is. This might be it.
If something feels off, it's off.
Okay. Sorry, guys, here. I'm learning to do this stuff here. Okay, let's try here again.
You're doing better than I can do.
Well, this is. Oh, here we go. Let's see if this what this guy has to say.
My intuition saved my life when I was a kid. So in my family, they called me Little Chan because I was actually named after my aunt, Big Chan. And when I was younger, my mom actually owned a flower shop that was right next to my aunt's restaurant. It was very common for me to go with my aunt when my mom had to work late certain nights. So there was one night where I was super excited to go with my aunt, but then something told me in my spirit, like, don't go with her tonight, like chill on that. So I hid. Tell you, I can vividly remember like hiding behind boxes and like they were looking for me and I wouldn't say anything. So I was like, I cannot go with her tonight. Something's telling me do not go with her. I like peer my head outside the boxes whenever I realized she had left. And my mom was just like, why were you hiding with your aunt? Like you usually love to go with her. And I was just like, I can't do it tonight. We got a call at 3 a.m. that my aunt had been in an incredibly terrible accident that involved a drunk driver. And the truck that she drove was completely ripped in half. I would have died.
So those are just a few of them about your intuition. So have you had any incidents, Mel, where it has saved your life, your intuition?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's something I want to touch on is premonition. So premonition can be like this feeling that something is not right. It's like a foreboding. And when you get that, pay attention to it. Now, the one lady said that, that intuition, psychic, is that first thing that comes through. And then a lot of people start thinking, is this me thinking this? Is this intuition? Maybe it's not right. But if it's a premonition, that feeling just keeps coming up and keeps replaying over and over again. I don't know exactly what she said, something about fear. I say the thing to do is trust it. And that's what
Mhm.
I teach in my classes. The hardest thing for me to get people to do is step out of that analysis paralysis. Is this me thinking this? What if it's not right? Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. Pay attention to that first thing that comes through. Trust it and act on it. What do you care what people think, right? Um,
Right.
so that's premonition, and that's what we're hearing here, like the feeling of don't do that, you know.
Mhm.
So what happened with me was there's been a lot of times, but um, I had triple bypass surgery, open heart surgery. Um, it was 11 and a half years ago. And 7 years prior to my surgery, I started getting chest pain. It would go away. They said it's reflux, it's anxiety, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
I would go to the hospital. They would send me home. It's anxiety. It's reflux. Doctor said it's reflux. Okay. So they did an angiogram 7 years prior to my surgery. And they said, stop smoking because I used to smoke, right? I didn't watch my diet, whatever. And they said, your cholesterol's a little high. Take these meds, which I didn't do. And, watch it. So, as I said, for 7 years, I just kept getting these episodes of just dull pain. That was it. So, about 8 or 9 months before my surgery, I kept having dreams of my grandmother and my family who was in spirit, and they love to play cards. They love to play cards, poker. And I was having this dream about they were playing poker, but I wanted to play cards with them, and they would not let me. And this was a recurring dream. And I woke up upset. Why won't they let me play cards with them? And it kept happening. And so finally, you know, uh, 7 years prior to the first angiogram, I started getting this dull pain. It didn't get worse, didn't get better. It was just there.
Mhm.
And so I changed doctors. And when I went to see him, I told him what was going on. And he said, let me pull your records from 7 years ago. He said, you had two 40% blockages. No, you had two 20% blockage and a 40% blockage then. And I said, they didn't tell me. They just told me to quit smoking, watch my diet, and take pills. And he said, let's do a stress test. I said, I passed every single one of them. But I kept getting this foreboding feeling. It was my heart. It was my heart. And they kept saying reflux. I kept saying no. And this dream was getting really strong. The same dream over and over. So did a stress test. I passed it, two actually, thallium and the regular one. I passed it. And he said, well, it's probably nothing to worry about. I said, no. I want to see a cardiologist because I want an angiogram. I'm telling you, there's something wrong. He said, well, he knows I was a psychic. He was actually a client of mine. He said, okay, coming from you, let me see what I can do. I went to the cardiologist and he did the angiogram. And I said, okay, doc, are you going to put a stent in? He said, I could see on the screen. He said, no, you have to have immediate bypass surgery because if you have a heart attack in any of these places where these blockages are, you will die. It'll be instant death.
Oh my God.
And I said, you can't stent? He said, no, they're too far up in the heart and I can cause a heart attack further down. I said, so it
Wow.
was about 3 or 4 days later, I get a call from the surgeon and he said, I want to see you in my office on a certain day. Now, this was on a Tuesday. I'll never forget it. And they said, if you have any chest pain, anything whatsoever, get to the hospital immediately. On a Thursday, I walked up the steps, and by the time I got up here, I was just wet with sweat. Now, the hospital's 5 blocks away. So they took me in the hospital, and I had a premonition when the surgeon told me they were going to do the surgery a week later. I said, they're going to do it on Monday. I told my husband. This was on a
Wow.
Thursday. Monday, they did the surgery. After they did the surgery, I quit having that dream, and I figured out what it meant. They were playing cards. If I would have been playing cards with them, I would have crossed over into spirit, and they were telling me it wasn't my time to cross over yet. That's why they wouldn't let me come and play cards with them.
Oh, wow.
As soon as I had the surgery, the dream stopped.
Wow. Isn't that amazing how dreams can kind of even give you premonitions about things like that, like you did? I mean, I know they have books on dreams and stuff, that certain
It was
dreams mean certain things.
it was just the idea that they were playing cards, and I wanted to join, and they were like, "No, you can't right now." And I couldn't. And then I figured out
That
why
makes sense.
exactly.
Wow.
I had the premonition that something wasn't right. The same thing with the thing on my tonsil. I would get from time to time, I would feel like I had like maybe a breadcrumb or a grain of rice stuck in my throat. And I would, and then I would notice that when I would be uploading my YouTube videos and I would just hear myself talk, I would sound hoarse. I'd wake up in the morning with like a sore throat. I thought maybe it was because I snored too much. Who knew? And I was watching a video once on YouTube, and for some reason, it showed up, like, when you go to your homepage and it'll show you different things you can watch. And it said,
Mhm.
oral pharyngeal cancer. And I looked at it and I got this foreboding feeling. And I felt a little something on the side of my tongue. I thought, nah, no way. It was 2 days later, I was getting out of the bathtub. I have to have my little bath in the morning and sleep for 10 minutes in the tub. Then I'm good the rest of the day, right? I won't drown. Don't worry. I've been doing it for years. I got out of the tub and I thought there's something stuck in my throat. I went, and I put the toothbrush back there. When I pulled it out, it was bloody. And I opened my mouth and a flashlight, and there was this gnarly looking thing on my tonsil. I immediately went to the immediate care center, and the doctor there said, "Oh, that's a blood clot. It's nothing to worry about. Just go see an ENT, but it's really nothing to worry about." I came home and I told my husband. He said, "It's nothing to worry about. I don't believe that. I'll never go back there again."
I
I said,
blame
"Dear,
you.
this is cancer. I know it's cancer."
Oh gosh.
And he said, "Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it." So I went to my dentist and he said, "I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's much to worry about." I went to an oral surgeon and the oral surgeon looked at it and I said, "Is this cancer?" "No, I don't think so. Take these antibiotics and it'll get better." I took the antibiotics. I was going to Sedona last May to be with Linda on the retreat they were doing. We were teaching out there. And we went to this place. I forget what it was called, but it was a big Buddha. It was a sacred space. And I said, "Please heal my throat. Let me know what's going on." And then we went to this church. It was high up. It was a Catholic church. It's on a cliff. And I said the same prayer. And I even asked people there, that were in my classes.
Mhm.
When I got home, I went back to the oral surgeon. And he said, "Well, it cleared up a lot. I don't think it's anything to worry about." I'm like, I'm not liking it. So a doctor friend of mine came to my office and I took a picture. Something told me, "Take a picture of the thing on your tonsil." And I showed it to her. And the first words out of her mouth was, "That looks like cancer. You need a CAT scan." So I went for the CAT scan. The very next day, this is synchronicity. The very next day, there was another doctor in my office who's an ER doctor. And I show her the picture. And she said, "That looks like cancer. You need to have it taken care of." So I said, "I'm trying to get in to see an ENT. I can't for 3 months."
Mhm.
And she said, "I went to medical school with a guy. Let me text him." He called back and he said, "Can you come in on Thursday?" I said, "No, because I'm going to Africa on Wednesday." He said, "Can you come in Monday?" And I said, "Yes." And I just knew it was cancer. I was driven. You've got to take care of this. So when I went in his office, I showed him the picture and he kind of looked at it. And and I said, "I think this is cancer." They did the little scope thing down my nose and my throat. He goes, "I don't see anything." I said, "I'm telling you, I think it's cancer." He said, "Don't put the cart before the horse. Probably, but let me check it and see." And when he put his hand against my tonsil, I could feel his energy shift. His whole demeanor changed. And I said to him, "You don't have a good poker face."
Hmm.
I'm going to be honest with you. I feel a tumor, a mass behind your tonsil, and it's quite large. It's about this size. And he said, "I really am convinced this is cancer. Go to Africa when you get back. We'll biopsy it. We can take care of you here at Loyola." I went to Africa. I came back. I went for the biopsy. Meanwhile, I said, "Okay, spirit guides, you got to help me on this one." I went back to that oral surgeon who said there's nothing to worry about. And I said, "This is cancer." And he said, "There's a doctor I want you to see, Dr. Kirsten Stenson at Rush." Okay, fine. My dentist had oral cancer, and he said, Dr. Kirsten Stenson at Rush. Now, these people don't know each other. My friend Beverly's a flight attendant, Beverly Kirby, and she's an excellent medium. And she was
Mhm.
flying back from Europe, and there was a woman sitting in first class. And Beverly said, "Why don't you try to sleep?" And the lady said, "Well, I'm a surgeon. I do cancers of the head and neck, and I've got a lot of lectures when I get back, and I want my biological clock to get in order." And Beverly said to her, "My friend was just diagnosed with oral cancer." And Beverly's texted me from the airplane. She said, "Ask him the doctor's name." And I said, "Dr. Kirsten Stinson." And Beverly said, "That's who I was going to want to go see." And the woman said, "Oh my God, she's a friend of mine. She's one of the best in the country." Now, these people did not know each other.
Wow.
In Africa, I was sitting next to a woman, and she was a head and neck surgeon who specialized in head and neck cancers. And she was on her way to Tanzania to teach how to do surgeries. And I told her what happened. And she's feeling my neck. And she goes, "I think it's HPV. There's nothing to worry about. There's a doctor in Chicago. Her name is Dr. Kirsten Stinson." I'm like, oh my God. So I made an appointment to see Dr. Stinson. What a wonderful human being. I had the best feelings with her. To make a long story short, she took out my, the tonsil, the tumor behind it. She had to reconstruct the inside of my mouth. They took out lymph nodes here. They were all benign. But had I not followed up, and she said, "It's a good thing you did because it wasn't in the lymph node. So I didn't have to have radiation or chemo. But had you not followed up," she said, "Mel, it would have gone to your lymph nodes. And you'd be talking about radiation therapy, which has some very long-term negative effects. You'd be talking about chemo. And because of your heart, that's not a good idea." So my intuition that's kept telling me it's cancer, it's cancer, it's cancer, almost like an obsession. And I was driven, and my intuition saved my life. And it was through synchronicity that I found this wonderful guy who diagnosed me, and then this wonderful surgeon at Rush. I mean, people who didn't even know each other were telling me about this.
Wow.
And so it was like, here I am.
So
So
had you not listened to your intuition, you might not be here today.
had I
You
not
know,
listened,
it's
had I not
possible.
listened to my intuition, I would have probably been hardly able to talk. I would have probably had it in my lymph nodes. It would have probably been a stage 4. As it was, Dr. Stenson, I thought I was dying when I walked in there. And she said, I said, "Is this a stage 4?" She goes, "Oh, no, 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 no. I'm going to call this a stage 1." And I said, "Well, I have to go to Italy. I have a seminar with Linda Grindle." Now, this was in the end of June. In September, I said, "Am I going to be able to go?" She goes, "You'll go." I said, "I've got a trip to Italy going in October." She said, "You're going to go to Italy?"
I remember that show.
And she explained everything she was going to do. She spent an hour and a half with me. When she walked in the room, she took my hand, and I could feel healing. I said, "I feel healing in your hands." When I told her what I did, she was just amazed. And she said, "Mr. Dorr, I'm Dr. Stenson." And I said, "No, no, no, please call me Mel. I don't like Mr. Dorr stuff." She said, "Then call me Kirsten." Whenever she hugged me, she explained everything. I felt like, oh my God. So she said, "It's a stage 1. We don't think it's in the lymph nodes. We won't know till we biopsy. I want you to meet with the cancer team." And normally, if I would have heard that, I would have gone BS crazy. But when she said the cancer team, like the radiation oncologist, the medical oncologist, the speech pathologist, because she told me I'd have to, they'd have to teach me how to re-swallow and everything.
Wow.
And so, because she was so pleasant, it made a horrible experience much more palatable, if you will, no pun intended. And I tell everybody about her, and I'm sure that spirit led me to her. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked her, how does it normally present? She said, normally it's a lump on the neck, and that's a lymph node, and it means it's spread from a primary tumor. Mine went the other way. It went on my tonsil. She said, Mel, you're very, very lucky. I said, well, let me tell you about spirit guides. And let me tell you the story. When I told her about all the synchronicity going on, she said, that's incredible. So
That
intuition.
is so cool. And you got, oh, I mean, you were back on air. I couldn't believe it. You were like, even Linda too. She had a surgery, and it's like, what is she doing on air? I seen you. I'm like, what is he doing on air? I'm like, how can he even talk after that? And you amazed me.
Well, when I went to see my surgeon 2.5 weeks after surgery, swallowing was, I mean, I had open heart surgery, and it was uncomfortable. The drainage tubes were horrible. Those were painful. But this part where they cut, that wasn't bad. Or they took the artery out here, that was really painful. But this was excruciating. But, I take a pain pill, I'd wait an hour, and then I'd try to eat. And I had to take tiny, tiny bites. I could only open my mouth like that, and only what I could get on the end of a spoon. And it took me forever to try to chew. So water was the hardest thing to swallow, because the viscosity is uh, things that easier things for me to swallow would have been like mashed potatoes,
Mm-hmm.
because it's more thick. The water gets stuck in the back of your throat and you start coughing. So when I went to see, I forced myself though. I would get a hamburger on the way home from the hospital. Gary said, "What do you want to eat?" I said, "A quarter pounder with cheese." He said, "You'll never be able to eat it." I said, "That's all I needed to hear." I scrunched up the hamburger and I mushed it up. It took me 3.5 hours, but I got it down.
You did?
So I would take a pain pill. I would wait like an hour, and then I would try to eat. So I lost like 13 pounds in 2 weeks. But when I went back to see the surgeon, like 2.5 weeks after my surgery, I said, well, I don't know. I'm trying solid foods. And I explained to her what I just explained to you. And she said, that's incredible. I go, what's incredible? And she said, normally 2.5 weeks after surgery, people are still on a liquid diet.
Wow.
So I just had to force myself. And I said to my guides, okay, just let me do what I got to do. And it was about mindset. And I'm like, I can't give into this. I will do what they're telling me. I'll do the physical therapy. I'll do the exercises, because they have to move this nerve, and this nerve here controls shrugging, and it controls this. And I would do the PT, physical therapy, 4 or 5 times a day by myself at home. I was very compliant, but I thought, I'll comply, but I can't, I'm not going to give into this. I'm not going to be a victim to it. And so I came back on YouTube, and there were days I didn't want to get up. There were days that I could only see 1 or 2 clients. It took me a month to get back to work. But I'm like, nope, I just, each day was a little progress. And
It makes you thankful though, doesn't it? For every day you have when you come so close. I mean, that close to where something could have happened. It really makes you appreciative of every day you have.
well,
I
when
would imagine.
people complain on here because we mispronounce words, or that we talk over each other, or things like that, I'm like, wait a minute here. We all love each other.
Yes.
So I'll mispronounce a word. Big deal. You know, when they complain about other people's missing a word or talking over each other, it's like, you know what? How about take a step back and look around and see the positive things in life? And that's what cancer taught me, to look at the
Yeah.
positive things, not to look at the negativity. There's a lot of negativity, don't get me wrong. And then my guides told me I was paralyzed with fear. I didn't let anybody know it, but I was paralyzed. I just went through the motions. And that's what I got to saying. I said to my guides, how do I step out of this? And it came through loud and clear. Don't let the fear stand in front of you and hold you back. Let it get behind you and push you forward.
Oh, we're so glad you listened to your intuition that time, and that'll teach you that probably anytime you think something, if it comes in your head, you know to listen now for sure. If you didn't before, my gosh, that's like I was telling you, my husband, he's been having chest pains and stuff, and a lot of times it's anxiety, but if he thinks it's something wrong, we need to get him to the doctor, because you just don't know. Better safe than sorry. I had something like that similar with him. I wanted him to have a colonoscopy and he did not want to go. And he said, well, maybe next year, putting it off another year. And I was like, I don't know. You really, really, they said you should have it. I made the appointment for him. And we're going to have your colonoscopy. Here's your stuff. Drink it. You're going to have this. And he had it. And they said that he had, I don't forget how many, he had a lot of polyps and they were precancerous. And they said if he would have waited another year, another 6 months, another year, it would have been malignant.
I got to go for my colonoscopy. I'm past the 10-year mark. Can I just read this, please, real quick?
Mm-hmm.
It says, Ancestor Linker says, Mel Dore, psychic medium, 6/19/23. I had a 17-hour surgery for jaw cancer. My friend kept me updated on you, and since then you have been inspirational to me. I'm going to cry. I still have my feeding tube. We can take those things that happen to us and turn it around and try to help others with it. Ancestor Linker, hang in there. I'm going to be sending you lots of healing prayers and energy. And at some point, I see that feeding tube removed. And my feeling is you'll be able to eat again, albeit very little tiny bites in the beginning, but you'll get back to eating and chewing, I promise. So hang in there. And if you need anybody to talk to ever, call my office at 847-590-5411. I'm not going to charge you for a session. We'll just talk. And so thank you for sharing that.
Roxy says, I moved to New Hampshire from the West Coast, and the moment I got there, I felt out of sorts. Everything went wrong. I never felt comfortable living here, so I moved after a year. So your intuition told you to move is what it is, huh? Mm-hmm. And then some people get a gut feeling. Is that how you felt it, kind of in your gut?
Yes. It was claircognizant. I knew. I didn't know how I knew or what I knew. I just knew. Like with my heart, with the cancer, I just knew. And it was like a force was just pushing me. No, if they said something to work, there was that part of me that thought, well, I'll put it off. And I procrastinate on everything. But it was like, no, Mel, you cannot procrastinate on this. And I just kept pushing and pushing. And as much as I tried to push it out of my head, it really kept coming back. It was almost like an obsession. And it saved my life.
I think those feelings that won't go away, that just will not leave you alone. A lot of times, it's like, listen, I've had that too. Kevin said, I had a bad gut feeling of going to the bar with a group of friends after work. So I went home and someone was stabbed at the bar that night. Always follow your gut feeling. I seen another one at that club where a lot of people were killed. He was supposed to be there and his gut feeling told him not to go. Look at Bailey.
Oh, what a cutie. I just love that dog. I want to say hi to Kevin. Hi, Kevin. If y'all want to get readings, call Kevin. He's a phenomenal psychic. Call Deanne. She's a phenomenal psychic. And call Tanya. She's a phenomenal psychic. So.
And Mel is great also. Even more so. Now, yes, ma'am.
So now, I don't know if Mel knows this. I worked for the Department of Corrections for 22 years as a captain. So a lot of times, most days was living by intuition. In the prison setting, if a pin drops and doesn't sound right, you have to be ready for what goes next. I just want to tell a little short story, just a little one.
Mine go forever. So.
We were sitting in our morning meeting where it's all the command staff. I was the captain, so it was me and the the deputy warden and my sergeants and my lieutenants. And I had a feeling something was just gnawing at me. I walked into the room and I said, and literally, you remember that song? Something is not right. Something is quite wrong. Something is not right. That's why I sing this song. I think I said that too. We had a riot that day. I walked out there, everything, the whole atmosphere was just wrong. And I verbalized it. I was like, no, guys, something is not right. And before breakfast was over, we had the yard locked down. It was a crap show. So our intuition, especially when, like, if you're in law enforcement, firefighting, anything that's dangerous, anything to where when you just go to work, you risk losing your life that day just through normal means. Your intuition becomes literally your weapon. And it was. The prison system, just walking across the yard when something don't feel right, it ain't right. And you have to listen to it. And if people would take that and use their intuition in their normal waking lives, so many people would skirt disaster. And I'm serious. I am so serious. Just being aware that you are in a dangerous situation and then speaking to the universe, asking for divine protection when you leave the house. This is important because if you're not asking, if you ain't taking care of yourself and you're not asking your guides to look out for you, you're a walking calamity. So one of the things that I really just want to say for everybody who's out there listening, number one, when you get that feeling, trust it. Trust it. Bad or good, trust it. Number two, do not walk around like you have a bubble around you unless you have spoken that bubble into existence.
So
believe in what you feel. That's all I got to say. Believe in what you feel. Your body, your electric senses feel danger, just like a shark can smell blood in the water.
Our animals.
Yes, you can feel when something changes, the atmosphere changes, the hairs on your arms stand up, that thing runs down your neck. Pay attention. Just listen to your body. Trust yourself.
So in your case, Tanya, it was a strong situational awareness, but your intuition even was stronger than that situational awareness.
Oh, yeah, no, no, it was intuition. I used my psychic abilities. I am alive. I survived 22 years in Department of Corrections because of my abilities. And I'm not even kidding. The prison system is a horrible place. And you are dealing with people, 1,000 individuals who are all broken and who are all 1 second from snapping. And you have to navigate this current moment by moment. And learning how just to recognize, to see people and to see when things aren't right with people becomes magic glasses, I guess is what you can say. Because that's all I can say is what I had, magic glasses, when I worked for the Department of Correction. I could see things that nobody else saw. And I never lost an officer, and only one inmate died on my yard when I was there, and he died from another inmate beating him up. I was off work that day. So
I like that magic glasses. That's cool. It's just it's like the magic glove. It's like you feel it, you know it. You don't know what, you just know.
Well, I've had feelings like that. They say that you should really listen to your intuition. If you're getting ready to get on an elevator and somebody's in there and you have something gives you the creeps, tells you don't get in that elevator, wait. They say listen to it, and that we should teach our kids how to listen to their intuition too. If something don't feel right, if something don't seem right, to listen to that. They usually used to tell kids if they were lost to find a police officer. Well, they're not so easy to find. Now they say find a grandma, find a mother, but you know, we should probably be teaching our kids that too. But I know what you mean. It's that first thought that just pops out of nowhere. You weren't trying to think it. It's just like I said, I was telling Tanya, I would drive to work. I always go the same way, always. And all of a sudden it's like in my head, it's like, don't go that way. And I'm arguing with myself like a crazy person. I'm thinking, why always go that way? Why wouldn't I go that way? But it wouldn't get out of my head. It's like, don't go that way, go this other bridge. And for some reason I thought, you know what, I don't know what this is about, but I'm going to use the other bridge. It's longer, it takes me longer to get there. I don't know why I'm using this, but it wouldn't leave my head. Every time I start to get in the lane to go down that bridge, it's like, don't do it. So who knows? I don't know why my intuition was telling me that. Maybe there could have been an accident. Maybe I might have been, something to make me late. I don't know. But I'm learned to listen when I get a feeling, a strong feeling.
I think somebody put in the questions, it was like, how do you know the difference between intuition, here we go, and being worried or scared about what could happen? Example, like before a flight. Okay. I used to be afraid to fly. I didn't want to fly until 911. And 911 happened, and I had a huge foreboding about that. I mean, the night before 911, I was sitting at my kitchen table with my friend Amelia's son, and he was drawing airplanes flying into buildings. And I'm saying, I'm getting a horrible feeling of something's about to happen. And the next morning, it was the 911. The planes flew into the Twin Trade Towers. After that, I started flying, and I thought, because if I'm afraid to fly because of terrorists, they win. And I'm not going to give them that much power over me.
No.
So that was my Aries defiance. But, I think everybody gets nervous about flying, or a lot of people do. That's a normal thing. But if you are going to an airport or getting on an airplane and you get almost like this, I don't want to say terror, but this thing that comes over you and says, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I can't explain the feeling, but you'll know. It's the difference between that and being fearful of flying, but you'll know. I can't explain it. It's just this feeling. Then it's like, no, don't do it. But so there's a difference between, I think, just normal anxiety, and what we're talking about. This is like this foreboding. It's almost like, I can't explain it, but it's such a strong feeling. You'll know. And it's not.
Won't leave you alone.
It won't leave you alone. It's not a panic attack. It's nothing like that. We're going to St. Croix Sunday. I'm not nervous about flying. I shouldn't say that, but I'm just not. I know it'll be okay. But so there's a difference. I can't explain it.
Ness says, as a kid in the front seat while driving with my family on a summer day, I had the urge to close my window, the only window open. 2 minutes, we drove into a major beehive swamp. If I didn't close that window, oh my gosh.
See, it's like that. You get this urge to close the window. Why am I doing this? I can't logically or intellectually explain it. I'm just doing it.
Yeah. Or being told to not go a way that you always go, and that's not logical,
Exactly.
Froxy Roxy says, I started a job and within 2 weeks I got a severe stomach feelings of foreboding every day. I quit after a month. Later they closed as it was part of Enron debacle.
Oh, there you go. So what's going on in your body like that, Froxy Roxy, what's going on with your body inside is a barometer of what's going on in the environment around you. So if you get that stomach feeling, that odd sensation, and that foreboding every day, that was your body's barometer of telling you it was what was going to happen. We never see the whole story, but look what happens. So pay attention to that.
Aspie Third Eye asked Jamel says, I don't understand why they couldn't have biopsied that. If you can see it, it's easily reached and highly non-invasive. Makes no sense why they didn't.
What happened was there was it was like a little thing about the size of a pea. It was a blood clot. And I took a Q-tip and got that out. So after that, where the blood clot was, it healed. And there was just a little spot. It was just like barely noticeable. I mean, you couldn't even hardly see it. And they didn't feel any, when they would feel my lymph nodes on my neck, they didn't feel anything. So they figured there's nothing to worry about. And no, but the thing that got me though, Aspie Third Eye, is the oral surgeon never examined my mouth. He never put his finger in and pressed that tonsil or felt the lesion behind it. The ear, nose, and throat doctor did. So,
Wow.
but my intuition kept me going. So they did biopsy it, finally. But when they said nothing to worry about, take antibiotics. If it clears up, it's not cancer. Cancer doesn't get better with antibiotics. And I did take antibiotics for a couple of weeks, and it did get better because they said it was inflamed. And okay, well, but here we are.
Risa says, I had that too, Mel, when I had my neck surgery for my back, and I couldn't hold my head up. And I got, don't let the fear consume me, but a push forward, believe, and I will heal. I healed too.
Good. I'm glad, Risa. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that.
And thank you, Risa. And Sherry said, yes, see, my nephew has Asperger's too, and it's about graduate high school. He's saying, this may be a different thing. She's talking to the group there. Here's Roxy. Roxy says, I had another near-death incident 5 years ago. Had carotid artery surgery after 2 CVTs, but still here ticking.
Yay. And
Frosty.
my feeling is those carotid arteries are clear. It's funny, when I had my open heart surgery 11.5 years ago, my carotid arteries were open. It's funny, when they did the CAT scan that showed the tumor, my friend who's a doctor ordered it, and they could see the tumor in there. And that's when I knew. As soon as I read the CAT scan report, I knew. They didn't even know it was cancer. I knew. But I saw these white looking things. And when Dr. Stenson looked at the CAT scan, I said, what are those white things? She said, those are your coronary arteries. That's calcification. And I said, ooh. And I said, can we? And before I said, can we, she goes, don't worry, I'm going to order an ultrasound for you. So it came back, they were both 40% blocked. But my cardiologist and Dr. Stenson said, let's just watch it and see what happens. So I figure, hey, 40% over 11.5 years, I don't know, but I have a coronary artery disease. So, but I watch, sometimes I cheat on my diet, but
You're better than me. I need to get better. I'm pre-diabetic now, and so I've got to stop, the sugar and all that. Easier said than done.
Mediterranean diet.
I'm going to try that. I've heard that's good. And Jana Peters, thank you very much. That was speaking to me tonight. Thank you, Jana, for that. And let's see. Oh, I wanted to share this too. Lisa Foster put, go make sure you get Linda G's book. I've got it. I started reading it. Me and my husband are reading it. It is really a great book so far. And it sounds like I'm just sitting talking to her, just like the way she talks.
That's what everybody says. It's just like being in Linda's living room or having coffee with her. And I'm so glad she wrote it that way. Linda told me that some people, gave a bad review because they didn't like what was written. But, everybody please read the book and give it an excellent review, because everybody that I've talked to that's read it absolutely loves it. I haven't read it yet. Linda's going to send me an autographed copy. So I'm going to wait to get the autographed copy. Then I'm going to go, look what I got.
I'm going to, not even whenever I see it, I bring it with me, get it signed. But me and my husband I'm reading it to him, so that way we can both enjoy the book together. And he knows who Linda is. He's been listening to her right with me for the last couple years. Oh. And Elaine says, Mel remembers my son Jim sent you doves on a reading you did. You said healing doves.
Oh, thank you. That's sweet.
Celtic Seer says it pays to listen to your gut feeling. Have learned the hard way not to ignore it. Yeah, every time you do ignore it, I mean, how many of you guys have ignored it and then you wish you hadn't have?
You know,
Even if it's
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said even if it's even if it's somebody you're dating or something, your gut tells you something and you you have a feeling about somebody before you even go out with them. If you would have listened, you'd have saved yourself some heartache.
Ramona Martinez says, when I had my colonoscopy, they found out my appendix had burst. I had no pain. It saved my life. So,
Oh, wow.
I'll tell you who else is very intuitive are dogs. They're really intuitive.
Oh, yeah. My dog is. If there's anything in this house that it don't belong here, she will tell me. I thought cats did that. I didn't know dogs did that.
Yes. Another thing that clued me in is like when I first found this, Lucky, and right before the surgery, Lucky would not leave my side. She was right there, and she was just, her behavior seemed a little different. She wasn't her normal perky self. And they're training dogs now to smell cancerous tumors. And I'm thinking that's probably what she was smelling, because a dog's sense of smell is 100,000 to 300,000 times greater than ours. They can smell molecule by molecule. It's incredible. But she would, and I think she also knew I was worried, but she would not leave my side.
They use their nose like we use their eyes. They depend on their nose more than their eyes, they say, dogs.
Well, they depend on their eyes, they depend on their hearing, but their nose, but that's how they learn their world. A lot is through smell. But
Oh, yeah. And Vivian says, Tanya, I served in corrections and law enforcement for 16 years. I also endured a riot. Was shown in your dreams repeatedly days before upon reporting to duty. You saw the dream.
Tanya, I have a question. That's got to be one of the most incredibly frightening things to go through, to be a corrections officer when there's a riot going on in the prison. That's got to be frightening.
Oh, I guess it would be. You don't have a whole lot of time to be scared when you got to get your feet moving now.
Well, that's true. After you have time to think about it. I often tell people I'm great during an emergency. I don't panic. I'm good. When it's all over and done with, that's when I lose it.
Let me tell you a little story. I got a story for you here. I had an inmate and an officer. An officer was escorting an inmate to the shower. I was on the other side of a steel door on the other side of the pod. The inmate and the officer was escorting the inmate to the shower. Before the inmate got into the shower, he turned on the officer and started assaulting the officer. He was at the washing room, the laundry room door, and these are steel doors. These are 4-inch thick steel doors, and he was about to slam the officer's head in the door. The officer in the bubble, which is in the middle of the two pods, was in there just waving her hands. I looked and saw her, and she was just trying to get my attention and pointing to the other side. My hands are full. I've got keys, radios, and everything. I'm checking locks. I key myself through the pass-through right before the inmate slams the door on the officer's head. My hands are full. I have nothing to do nothing with. Somehow, this is my superhero story, y'all. Somehow, I drop kicked that inmate in his chest. Boom! Kicked him into the laundry room. Like I said, my hands are full. I have nothing to grab with. Somehow I get my gas can out, empty the whole can of gas on this inmate. And before I close the door, I pick the officer up and drag him out of the door frame and close the door.
Oh, wow.
Now, I have not lost my mind at this point. I'm just trying to save this guy from getting stomped. As soon as that door closed and I started to de-escalate, I lost my mind. I lost it. I was screaming. I was crying. I was saying probably every curse word I have ever heard. It was the most intense thing ever.
So your adrenaline kicked
It
in.
was pure adrenaline. But I couldn't, there was no worry, no panic, no nothing. I had something that needed to be done. And whether if I died, because I could have got thrown off the top tier. That dude was way bigger than me. But it wasn't even that. The whole thing was it was that's why I said it wasn't even me. Because I came, like I said, my hands were full. And I wish there was video because I had a bag of keys in my hand and my radio in the other hand. I could not pick anything up. I have no idea how I got the gas out and pressed the button. I never dropped the keys or my radio. I don't know how I picked the officer up and moved him out of the doorway. I never put anything down.
So you were being proactive, also reactive, but I think that adrenaline
with my cape.
There you go. You just don't have time to think. You're just reacting and being and after it's over and done with, then it's like, whoa. But I get it. I never had anything like that, but I hope you write about all that stuff. That's so cool.
You hear somebody here, Georgine said, you need to write a book, Mel, of all your experiences.
Tanya told me I needed to, but Tanya, I think you need to write one about working in the prison system. That would be good.
That would be interesting.
I already have a whole bunch of books written. Ain't nobody buying my books.
Well, they would buy those, I'm telling you.
She made 2 children's books too. I that one I've got I went to order it and it was like, darn it, I can't find. I had to get my purse. So I'm going to order that other one for my grandkids. Anna Hutchinson said, I sat at a red light. It turned green. I didn't start up right away, and here comes a car through the red light. I would have been dead. Wow. I've done that where the car's honking at me behind me, and it's just for some reason I felt like, don't go yet. Wait a second, and then a car runs the red light. So, yeah. And the last one here, Donna says, my friend's dog would smell my arm. I had squamous skin cancer. I went to the dermatologist and she said dogs can smell the abnormalcy of cancer.
Well, I train dogs. I love it. And we can train them to smell out certain things. We can make them alert people to, diabetes or diabetic reactions. We can teach them, how to alert if somebody's going to have a seizure. The training's pretty cool about it. I've never worked with, teaching a dog to smell cancer, but I know they're training dogs to do that. And so, can I just share a couple things here from the comment section?
Go right ahead.
Heavy Metal Veteran, hi Heavy Metal, says, I had a massive pulmonary embolism, that's a blood clot, and a stroke 7 years ago. I was put on life support for 8 days. The doctors told my wife there was no hope. The life support was turned off, but I didn't die. So that fighting spirit kept me going. Yay. Somebody else in the comments said they have to have back surgery. And I can't remember if it was he or she said they're nervous but optimistic. And I don't like to give medical advice publicly because I'm not a doctor. But whoever put that comment up, my feelings are you're going to pull through it just fine with flying colors, and you'll be out and about in no time. So that's what I see.
Well, I bet you could write a good book, Mel, with all the stuff that you've seen and done and the ghost stories and the police stuff. I'll buy your book. If you write one next. Who is it? PD and her mom said, oh, Deanne, my mother says you're going to write a book. I'm like, about what? I thought, well, who knows? Who knows? I never expected to be on YouTube. So never say never. You never know.
And here you are.
And here I are. Yep. And I wanted to thank you guys. I know it's been an hour, but I wanted to thank you guys. And before I go, I wanted to say real quick before I forget, if you would please subscribe and like to Tanya and to Mel. I appreciate it. They're awesome, awesome readers and better people. And I'm getting close to, believe it or not, Mel, I'm only 400 and something away from 5,000 now. So when I get to 5,000 and you like and subscribe, I'm going to do another little party and we'll do some more giveaways and some more free readings. So help me to get there. I've got 3 new oils. If you want to go to the Manifest site, it is in the description box. If you want to do it later, it's mymanifestshop.com. I'll just tell you super quick. One of them is Strawberry Friendship. And it's meant to help mend relationships or friendships that have grown apart. It kind of gives that giddy feeling of bliss. It smells good. It has strawberry seed oil, violets, pansies, peach blossoms, cherry bark, and I put a little bit of sugar. It's called sugar, and it has sugar cane and mistletoe and just things like that. So it's to bring people closer together. And then I've got Sweet Dreams, and that one is this one. It has pre-night, and it's to help with lucid dreaming, vivid dreaming. And I have calming relaxation herbs. If you go to the site, it tells about it. And what's the other one? Aries. And Mel's an Aries. And so we came out with Aries oil, and it is the energy of fire. And I have a lot of the different herbs in there that are based on the energy of fire, and it's supposed to be motivating. And you can look at the thing and see what it's about. But if you wanted to look, it's in the description box. These Tanya and Mel, their link is in the description box as well. So you can click on that and go to their channel and subscribe. And do you guys have any shows you want to that are coming up you want to tell people about, Mel?
Well, I'm going to be gone for the next I'm going to be going from Saturday the 10th until the 18th. So I'll try to post some stuff from down in St. Croix, but sometimes the connections down there are bad. I'm not bringing my laptop. I'm bringing my cell phone. But
Okay.
I do have to say one thing about the Manifest oils. Deanne sent me one Abundance, and she sent me 2 more. So every morning I go through my little ritual. I put them on and I rub them together. And yay. And, you know, Africa, I had it filled, and then somebody canceled because she said she couldn't afford it. And I kept having one spot open and one spot open. And I said, okay, I'm going to test this oil. You know, I'm the Aries, right?
Uh-huh.
Not that I doubted it, but I want to tell you something. And one day I got 2 calls for people that wanted to go to Africa, and I only had room for one person. And one said, well, I want to go, but, you know, I don't know. It's yay or nay. And I said, well, the first person who calls and tells me they want it, that's the one that gets it. Well, anyway, somebody who had checked in on the trip, you know, a long time, you know, a while ago on the Rhine River, she called out of the clear blue, and she said, I saw it on YouTube, and I've decided I want to go. And I said, you got to. And so that Abundance, those oils work, you all. You got to get them.
You know, Karen from Little Blue Lotus, I know she don't mind me telling you this. She was trying to sell her house. I got that, sent her a bottle. She sold her house like within 2 days. Another one said they could not get new clients. A realtor was not getting anybody. Said she put it on. The day she put it on, she got 3 new clients. Tanya, she's been using it, and she said she's booked up and she's better than she's ever been, and her subscribers have gone up. I've been getting nothing but another lady. She had not been selling her art. She put a little bit of it on, went into the art shop, and she said they bought her art. So, and me and PD, we both played the lottery, which I have never done in my life, but PD played and she won a ton. And she was like, Deanne, I put it on there. And I just said, I have won the lottery. I have won. And I'm not promising you this, but she just did it and she won. So I, for the first time in my life, ran to get a lottery ticket. I thought, I'm going to try this. And I put it on there. I'm like, I have won the lottery. I put a little bit on me on my hands, and I doubled my money, and I never played before, and I'm not going to get involved in doing that. But I'm saying they do work. But your belief is what really helps them to work. You visualizing it and believing it when you put it on. That helps.
It's funny, since I've been using it, I'm up to 22,000 subscribers now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give away 3 free half-hour sessions to my subscribers. To my members, I'm giving away 3 copies autographed of Linda Grendel's book. And Deanne, I'm also going to give away 3 bottles of the Manifest oil to my members.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much. I love these things. And when and I'll be doing some giveaways on these too. I know you're going to love them. I promise you're going to love them. I'll be shocked if you don't, because I have been using these for 4 years, and I'm obsessed. And if you didn't like them, I'm keeping them all for myself, because I really like them and they do work. So go and try them and see what you think. Oh, and if you don't know what you want, or you don't see what you want, have me custom make it for you. Tell me what you need. Having problems with the boss, need to look for a job, whatever. I'll make you an oil for that. If you don't know what you need, or it's for a friend and you're thinking, I don't know what to get her, ask me, say, have Deanne have her guides pick. I will have the guides pick for you, or whoever you ask me to pick for. And I almost could guarantee you that it's going to pick the right oils and crystals for you. I don't know how.
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Can I take a bath in that stuff?
I wish I could. The strawberry one. Oh my God, Mel. I'm not a strawberry girl, but it's like, because it's natural and there's no chemicals and there's no dye. It just, I was like, I gave my friend one today. She was down in the dumps, so I gave her one to cheer her up. So they work, you guys. And well, thank you, Mel, so much for coming, and thank you for supporting me. And how do people reach you if they want a reading?
They can call my office at 847-590-5411. You can email me on my website, www.meldoerr.com. And, I'm going to be gone for, for 8 days. So if you email or call the office, somebody will be there to take messages, but it might take like 8 or 9 days to get back to you, because we're not going to be in the office. But I'll have my staff taking messages and, going into the voicemail and stuff. So.
Okay. And mine is Deanne's Shield Maiden Tarot at gmail.com. It's in the description box if you need a reading. And also I have membership. I always forget to tell people that. But if you want to hit the join button, it's not that you have to join. It'll tell you what is included in the membership. And Mel, I'd encourage you to join his memberships too. And Tanya, you have memberships going on right now?
No.
Nope. Okay. Well, go to see Tanya, because
at some point for Tanya.
Yeah. She's amazing. She will make you get out of your chair and yell. Even if you don't go to church, she makes me want to yell hallelujah, because she is just really, the way she just preaches it. And I'm not talking church. She just is really passionate. And I love that about her. And Mel is great.
Tanya, your energy is absolutely incredible, and your presence just lights up a room. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
It does, and she's got the prettiest smile, I told her.
Yes. How do they get a hold of you, Tanya? What do they do?
If you want to get a reading or any of my products, go to psychictanya9@gmail.com. And if you'd like to watch my shows, my YouTube handle is just Tanya Stingley, or you can find my show under Tea Time with Tanya. And I just want to say, because I'm going to toot my horn, tomorrow I'm going to be 58 years old, and I think my 57th year, the culmination of this being the last thing that I do in my 57th year, I am so happy to be spending it with y'all. Thank you so much.
I'll be 70. I'll be 70 on March the 22nd.
Right.
I'll be 60 on November 1st, November 6th. 60.
70. Yeah, but 70 is like, people say you don't act 70. I'm like, never been 70 before. I don't know how to act.
I know. In my mind, I don't know about you guys, but in my mind, I'm still 30. You know, my body is different, but my mind, I want to show you guys. This is one of Tanya's Mojo bags that she has. She has all different kinds of little herbs and things. They smell really good. I put it in my pillow so and I sit there and I'm like, and you could also, if when the smell runs out, while you're waiting on hers, you could also use the oil and you can use it to anoint the Mojo bag. So you can do that too. But she sells bath bombs and room sprays. And if her room sprays, I've gotten one of her room sprays and they smell delicious too. And I'm like that too. I was like putting it on me like it was, you know, like I was a little kid taking my mom's perfume, putting it everywhere. It just smelled so good.
Okay, Tanya, I want a Mojo bag and a room spray.
All right. Send me your address.
Just can't be lavender. I'm allergic to it.
Oh, okay. Thank you for telling me that. Send me your address.
I will when we go off. I'll tell you.
Okay, well, everybody, thank you for coming. Thank you guys for coming, and we will see you next time on Paranormal Talk, or somewhere here is what was it? Somebody said in the YouTube streets. So, thank you. Bye, guys.